Yeah, that was kind of abrupt. So, sorry, George.
It worked, but we're live.
Welcome, guys, to yet another episode of Friday Night Tech Talk with your host, me, Ted Talks, and
That's
George.
you, yeah. It's almost
Yeah.
like you forgot who it was.
I'm comfortable just saying it's you. Let me just boom.
And let's see who we have in here. We've got Nigel. We've got Eleanor. Eleanor said, I just want to wish everybody a very good evening and very happy Easter. She's going to bed early, so she has to be at work at 7 o'clock in the morning. And when she has to be at work at 7 o'clock in the morning, she gets up at like 3, 4 o'clock.
Okay.
Brian's in here, but Brian was in here got up at 6 o'clock this morning. Brian was already in there. So kudos to you,
yesterday.
Brian. Yeah.
As they say, he was here like yesterday's erection.
Okay. And Renz is in here. What's up, brother? Yesterday, day before yesterday, I think it was, Renz had followed me on something on Twitter, so I followed him, and he puts a tweet, "Hey, brass nut sacks, George followed me."
Oh, Renz.
He insists on calling me that. And what are you eating tonight? What is your repast for tonight?
Oh, today's episode of Friday Night Tech Talks is brought to you by English breakfast tea. I'm going to need the caffeine.
Okay.
And McVitie's Digestives. Brought to me from the UK, all the way from the UK by my sister.
Okay. I'll get my caffeine a different way, if you don't mind. I guess this is the Atlanta way. Although Coca-Cola actually originally started in Chattanooga, and they still have a little plant here.
Do they? Wow.
Yes. So I had a pretty good day today. I drove over 500 miles, and it was sunny and bright yesterday and today in the 50s. Supposed to be even better tomorrow and Sunday. But of course, my bike is in the shop of maintenance until the middle of next week. So.
Oh, was your bike okay?
Yeah, I just hadn't had it. I hadn't done any maintenance on it in 2 or 3 years, and the guys at the shop I take it to do a great job. And I finished riding Tuesday, and I said, let me take this bike and get it just some maintenance done. So I know they're putting on brand new tires, and they're putting on a new chain, and I don't know what else. I told them just do everything they need doing. So,
the works,
right?
Yeah, I think my car might need a maintenance. When did I get it?
Oh, and check this. Well, you should have a sticker somewhere on your windshield telling you when it needs maintenance.
That's for the oil.
Oh yeah. Okay. Sorry. And by the way, I had a slow leak on my right rear tire, and I had one on the old car too. Both times I took it to this place called Tire Discounters. Both times they fixed my slow leak and didn't charge me a dime. You have to have
a slow leak on tires?
Yes. So if you ever have a Tire Discounters around you and you have a slow leak, I'm pretty sure
discount tires.
Tire Discounters, that's the name of the.
Oh, we have discount tires here.
Okay, I think they're a nationwide chain too. So anyway, I just thought that was cool.
Because I think I have at least two. One on two of my tires at least, because I'm always putting air like once a month, once every.
Oh yeah, then you got some. You're lucky enough to have a very, very slow leak, but yeah, you definitely should have that taken care of.
All right, I'll go tomorrow.
Okay.
Fix a flat.
Yeah, I've tried fix a flat. It leaves that cookie stuff inside you. I didn't like it. That's just me.
But yeah, Nigel, these are chocolate digestives. Mm-hmm.
And what the heck is What is a chocolate digestive?
You mean what's a
Enlighten the old
digestive? You
folks.
know what chocolate.
I know what a digestive is, and I know what chocolate is. I've never heard them combined.
So let me see if I can turn it around. So let's see. This is your test. So yeah, you see it, McVitie's. Oh shit, yo, Fujifilm, you are doing a great job. I did not know you had it in you. But yeah, you see the brand McVitie's. Digestives are really, really thick cookies. They were made specifically for dunking. You gotta dunk these suckers a few times before they start getting soft in your tea. They have to be dunked in tea, not milk. Milk have no effect on these, unless it's warm.
What about coffee? I'm American. Come on now.
Ugh, coffee and digestives. Nigel, have you ever heard such a thing? Coffee and digestives? He's saying they're.
Well, he's British and you lived in Britain, so I can't take the word of either one of you.
He's saying we're biased, Nigel.
That's right.
Yeah. All right, let's get some stories up on the board. If you guys want to follow along the stories, if you can, I don't know about you, Renz, if you're able to do such a thing. They're in the description because George says I never sent them to him.
Well, in any case, I still found them. I still got them all on the webpage. So, of course, you can find them at mobilegeezer.wordpress.com. And I have the first. I have the first story pulled. Yep, I have the first story pulled up, and you can share it when you want to.
Looks like Nigel joined.
Yeah, Nigel has this in Phantom Silver now.
Cool. He's part of the Galaxy S21 Ultra Club.
He's been on a buying binge. He's like a Samsung Knight now. He's got Samsung everything, plus his Huawei, of course. I love my Phantom Black.
I think Brian is asking you a question, Nigel. Do you like?
Yeah, Nigel is asking if you like the silver better than the Phantom Black. You know.
I don't get the story yet.
Okay.
Oh.
So you're in charge. I'll just follow along. So there.
Actually, you can take the story since drivers have some solidarity with your driver.
Oh, that's true. Okay. All right. This one is on news.trust.org. For this Amazon van driver, AI surveillance was the final straw, by Avi Asher Shapiro. Hey, I could pronounce that easily. For Vic, an Amazon driver since 2019, the company's decision to install a 4-lens AI-powered camera in his van was the final indignity. This month, he quit. Amazon is rolling out AI-powered cameras in its branded delivery vans. Some workers say the cameras violate their privacy and worry who gets their data. 5 U.S. senators have written to Amazon seeking an explanation. When Vic started delivering packages for Amazon in 2019, he enjoyed it. The work was physical. He liked the autonomy, and it let him explore new neighborhoods in Denver, Colorado. He had no more autonomy, that's for sure. But Vic, who asked to be referred to by his first name for fear of retaliation, did not like the sensation that he was constantly under surveillance. At first, it was Amazon's Mentor app that constantly monitored his driving, phone use, and location, generating a score for bosses to evaluate his performance on the road. Wow, that's heavy-duty stuff. If we went over a bump, the phone would rattle. The Mentor app would log that. I used the phone while driving, and boom, I'd get docked. So you're not allowed to go over a bump? You're supposed to levitate? Then Amazon started asking him to post selfies before each shift on Amazon Flex, another app he had to install. I had already logged in with my key card at the beginning of the shift, and now they want a photo. Now they want a photo? Question mark. It was too much. The final indignity, he said, was Amazon's decision to install a 4-lens AI-powered camera in delivery vehicles that record and analyze his face, body, the entire shift. Wow. This month, Vic put in his 2-week notice and quit, ahead of a March 23rd deadline for all workers at his Denver dispatch location to sign release forms authorizing Amazon to film them and collect and store their biometric information. Wow. It was both a privacy violation and a breach of trust, and I was not going to stand for it. The camera systems made by U.S. firm Netrodyne are part of a nationwide effort by Amazon to address concerns over accidents involving its increasingly ubiquitous delivery vans. Amazon did not respond to a request for comment, but has previously told the Thomson Reuters Foundation that access to the footage was limited and video would only be uploaded after an unsafe driving incident was detected. Albert Fox-Khan, who runs the Surveillance Technology Oversight Project, a privacy organization, said the Amazon cameras were part of a worrying new trend. You think? As cameras get cheaper and artificial intelligence becomes more powerful, these invasive tracking systems are increasingly the norm. The cameras are equipped with sensors that pick up if a driver yawns, drives without a seatbelt, or appears distracted, according to a product description posted. You're not allowed to yawn? Unbelievable. If
How
any
can
such
you?
behavior,
You can't do two things at once. You either do these deliveries or you're yawning.
you
Amazon
do
doesn't pay you to
you
yawn.
do have stoplights. I would think that a stop sign or a stoplight would suffice for a yawn,
You
but I
have to
guess you're
be
not allowed.
professional. You're driving an Amazon van. Are people going to have faith in the Amazon delivery drivers if they see you yawning? No.
Yeah, probably not. They'll say they're never darken my door again because you yawned. Okay. If any such behaviors are detected, the camera records the incident and shares it with the dispatcher. Vic's local delivery hub, an independently owned Amazon contractor that cannot be identified to protect the driver's anonymity, was chosen to help pilot the project more than a year ago, Vic said. At the time, Vic told his supervisors he thought the devices were intrusive and insulting, sending the message that he could only do a good job if closely observed. Actually, there's been lots of studies that say the exact opposite. Up
What is
until
that? Say
this
that
month,
again. Well,
I said there have been lots of studies that say the exact opposite with the closely observed. Usually you put too much close observation on people, they're not going to perform as well. And there's been
yeah, that
plenty
is
of
true.
studies.
Actually, yeah,
Yeah.
there have been studies. People, they don't. They burn out quicker.
Yeah. And what about all the studies, even before COVID, that showed people were more productive when they worked from home? Well, nobody was watching them. Anyway, up until this month, he had largely been able to request vans without the cameras installed. But there were a few times he did.
Just to. I'm sorry, George. Yeah, but just
Go ahead.
to go further on that, I think specifically delivery drivers. If you just give them a goal and a milestone to hit, like they don't need cameras to go. Make
Of
sure they
course
hit those
not.
goals. Drivers are extremely goal oriented, almost to a fault. Like if you do
I've
all
been,
this stuff, if anything, just make sure that if anything, it usually slows them down. But
I
apparently,
agree.
for Amazon, it's not enough.
And I can tell you from experience, my last job before going into programming was delivering for a beauty supply company for 7 years. Well, I can tell you, the longer and normally you have certain routes, the longer you do your routes, automatically almost you become more and more efficient at it. I worked 5 days a week. I delivered to the same places every Monday, the same places every Tuesday, different route. And I got so I could do almost all of my routes by, starting at 8 o'clock. By 12:30, if I wanted to be done, I was done. So they're going to get more efficient unless you start doing this crap to them.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Back to this.
There were a few times he did drive a van equipped with the cameras. At the end of his shift, his supervisor showed him all the images that had been captured. Each time the camera's AI detected an anomaly in Vic's behavior, a yawn, a glance at his phone, it started recording and saving the footage. How is a yawn an anomaly? I don't get that. Okay. Vic felt violated. We are all out there to do a job, and if they don't trust us to do the job, if they feel like they need to be watching us 24/7, why did they hire us? Why are we on the payroll? I agree 100%. Eventually, his DSP told Vic that cameras were going to become mandatory company policy for all vans all the time, and he would have to agree to be filled or seek other work. On March 2nd, he got a notification in his Amazon Flex app that he would now have to sign a consent form to allow Amazon to film him at work, as cameras were going in all vans. He had until March 23rd to sign up. When Vic read the documents, he was disturbed to read that Amazon reserved the right to share the information, nice, with third-party service providers and Amazon Group affiliates. That struck Vic as odd. Foxconn saw the hands of lawyers. These policies look like they were written by expensive lawyers with the sole focus of protecting Amazon's bottom line, not the privacy of the workers, said the privacy expert. The way they are written basically reserves the right for Amazon to do just about anything they want with his data. That's sure what it sounds like. In Senator's sites, the policies also caught the attention of U.S. lawmakers, as well it should, I would think. In a letter to Amazon on March 3rd, 5 Democratic senators raised concerns about the camera's privacy implication. They also asked Amazon to identify any third parties with which Amazon has shared or plans to share their footage. Good for them. Senator Ed Markey of Massachusetts, one of the signatories, told the Thomson Reuters Foundation that Amazon had not replied, and I would pull them into Congress and make them reply. Protecting safety on our roads is vital, but so is protecting the rights of workers, he said by email. The surveillance system Amazon is deploying in its vehicle fleet raises serious concerns about privacy and worker oversight. The senators echoed another concern of Vic's, that there was no way to opt out of this surveillance, even for drivers with stellar safety records. I was the top driver at my dispatch, Vic said, noting that he had no accidents in 2 years of work. And if Amazon wanted to improve safety, there are a lot of other things they could do. He worried that cameras were a way to put the burden of safety onto drivers instead of investing in better training. On online Reddit forums frequented by Amazon drivers, dozens have complained about the cameras and their lack of choice. Ultimately, Vic says he was forced to prioritize his privacy or his livelihood, calling it a source of coercion. Of course it is. He has found another job with another delivery company that does not use cameras, but worries about his friends at Amazon, as I would too. I wanted to show up and do my job, not be watched all the time, and that was not an option. He said it's not a choice anyone should have to make. I agree 100%. And coincidentally, what did I have today? My annual review. And nobody's watching me with a camera, and my review was great. So there.
Oh, congratulations. That's good, good, good. So what was your raise?
We get the same raise as long as we have satisfactory. Keep in mind, we're part-time workers, so it's 50 cents a year.
Same raise.
Everybody gets the same raise.
Oh, which is what?
50 cents a year.
What?
That's what it is. Hey, we're part-time workers. Hey, we're all retired from something, and they know it. So most of us don't need this job, and they know that too. Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, I was happy with my review.
I thought the general rule for raises though was that if it doesn't keep up with inflation, you're losing money.
We're not for part-time workers. That's only for full-time workers. Yeah.
Okay.
That's why a lot of companies hire part-time workers. That's why Enterprise hires all of us drivers who are, almost all in their 60s and 70s, some 80s. Down in Florida, there was a guy I worked with who was 90. He was still driving every day because he could. And that's one good thing about Enterprise. They don't care how old you are. As long as you can drive safely, you're good to go.
Shit. Nah, it looks like I'll be doing that driving stuff when I retire.
I do it because I love it. Well, everybody knows I love it. Anyway, I pulled up the next story, which is your Reddit. So I'll let you read that one. Yes.
Yeah, go ahead and actually, let me pull that up. Actually, it's actually the guy who the story was about was on Reddit, and he actually talked about his experience.
I see that. Yes, I have a chat if you want to share mine or yours, whichever one you want.
I'll share mine. I'll share it on mine.
Okay. Did we have anything in the comments about it? No.
No.
Really. Now they're talking Galaxy and
actually no. Let's see what the guys are. Okay, Brian's calling me on Bezos. I was just playing devil's advocate, Brian. But yeah, apparently Nigel likes the silver over the black.
Okay.
Oh, really, Nigel? Do you know how much effort Samsung put into making that black phone black? And you just
Yeah,
like the
Nigel,
silver?
don't you know that black phones matter?
Um, but yeah, Brian. Looks like he's got a whole suite of Samsung phones.
He's got
So the
everything.
phone,
He's got the Fold 2. He's got the, what's the small one, the one I like?
he's got the Z Fold 2. He's got the
Yeah,
Z Flip, the 21 Ultra,
Z
Note
Flip.
20
Yep.
Ultra. And it
He's,
looks like Nigel's favorite is the Mate 40 Pro. Oh
of
no, hold on.
course, because he hacked his way to get Google on it too.
Nigel, we're asking you which one is your favorite one out of all those lovely devices.
Yeah, Eleanor and I see pictures of them all the time. And he's bought these all in like the last month or month and a half or so. So we should call him Big Bucks Nigel. You know.
So let's need to see if this is doing anything. Oh, there we go. Good job. Sorry, I was just talking to my reflector.
Talking to your, does it talk back?
Morse. Okay, and let me start sharing this tab. Share screen. Come on. Come on, MacBook Pro. You got this. I don't know if it has this.
There you go.
Did you get it? Booyah. So, guys, on Reddit.com, don't worry, we're not at the end of the show yet where I talk about the glowing rectangle subreddit.
Okay. Yeah, this is the same driver, by the way.
But Reddit has a subreddit called Ask Me Anything where people. Hold on. I magnified the whole thing. Let me get back out.
Okay.
I need. Oh, I
That's
keep
good. That
forgetting how to
looks
do it.
that looks really good right there.
Yeah, so Reddit has a subreddit, that's what the whole thing is about, called Ask Me Anything, where people can just go up and just say, hey, ask me anything. And the guy who we just talked about, who quit his job, respect, by the way. Can you
Good for you.
imagine how hard it is to just quit over your principles?
And it says a lot that he just went out and got another job like right away. So he must be pretty good at what he does, I would think.
But yeah, he just describes he's been driving for Amazon for about 2 years, December 2019 to March 2021.
Mm-hmm.
And he got verified. They verify, the actual person when they do the AMAs. But he actually goes into detail in this post where he says they are four-way cameras, front, left, right. They go under the mirrors, and the size of the cameras are twice the size of a conventional car's rear view
Really?
mirror, and they are almost always on, even up to 20 minutes after the van has been shut off. That's weird. So that means they're not runoff capacitors. Then they have
Right.
batteries. Okay.
Right. They must have batteries, yeah.
Okay. Excuse me. One interesting thing I noticed though, he talks about the pay, and this thing is scrolling so long. Oh look, someone has a PR video. I want to know if I can play this PR video
Give it
later.
a shot.
Okay, so this how many tabs I have open now? I have 4 tabs open. I gotta keep this in mind when I'm on the MacBook Pro. Make sure the system doesn't get too slow. But he was talking about how much he was being paid. Okay, so someone asked, "Have you ever gotten?" Someone's asking Vic, has he noticed anyone get in trouble because of those cameras? And he says he doesn't know. He hasn't seen it personally. He didn't drive them with them for long enough.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
However, some other drivers did, and I was there while it happened. They are shown their camera feed in front of other drivers, called out, yelled at, and told to fix whatever the issues the camera AI recognizes under threat of losing their jobs. Huh.
So besides the privacy issues, let's embarrass them as much as possible. Okay.
Yep.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, and There was also a topic on
What a
it
great
looks like
team environment.
okay, so how much did you get paid for your job? Um, so Vic actually says that the owner of so Vic was actually working for a contractor who was employed by
And
Amazon,
it said that in
and
the
he's
article.
saying that the contractor was screwed just as much as he was as a driver. Contractors are in the same boat as drivers, but there's nothing they can do either. Each employer and dispatcher feels threatened for their job constantly. Warehouse management, on the other hand, absolutely helps create that fearful atmosphere because they don't have the same accountability to shoulder that the driver side of things does.
And I can tell you from experience, and this is from contracting experience as a programmer, but the reason a lot of these companies give it to a subcontractor who has their own employees because as part of anybody's contract like that, they have the right to fire you for any reason, anytime they want. And if you don't sign that, you don't get the job. So that's why they hire a lot of subcontractors and use their employees because they can fire everybody and there's not a thing you can do about it.
Yep. I Yeah, no, that's usually how the whole, customer service thing for businesses usually operate under.
Exactly. Yep.
Usually you don't, when you speak to the customer service rep, they don't technically work directly under the
I
major
know. I know.
brand.
I,
They
I,
usually
I
work
did
for another
15 years
company.
of I did 15 years of programming contractor work and same kind of contract I always had to sign. Yeah.
Here's a good point. Here's a good question. Let me see if I can make it bigger. Make it bigger, my friend. Make it bigger. No,
Well, of
no.
course, you live in Texas. If you can't make it bigger, nobody can.
um, it's a shame. I really did forget how to do it. Oh,
That's right. I can't
oh,
do it on my desktop. So
am I doing it? Am I doing it? Is it getting
yes,
bigger for
you
you
are. It's
guys?
going up. It's going back and forth a little bit. Yes.
So, you know what? I know you guys get your Amazon deliveries, but have you guys ever gotten the Amazon deliveries on the app and it says, "Hey, would you like to compliment your driver?" This guy is asking.
No,
I
I've
always
never
compliment.
got that.
Really? Whenever you get the delivery from Amazon, you don't get the, "Hey, did was your like send a compliment to your delivery guy?"
No, because I got an Amazon delivery today. I didn't get that.
Do you have the
And
Amazon?
I get notified in my email and my and by text when it's delivered, but I've never seen that.
That's peculiar,
And I got a book delivered today.
huh? And you have the
Me-
Amazon app on your phone.
Yes, I have the Amazon app on all my phones. Every single phone I have has it.
I always get that thing, as soon as they deliver it to me, the app will notify me like, "Hey, you got the delivery," and then it'll say, "Hey,
Yeah,
do you want to compliment your driver, like, or like, do you want to extend criticism, like, like, was he on
I've never
time? Did
seen
he go
that,
above
but
and
all,
beyond?"
all I ever got is it tells me it was delivered, and that was it.
Like, what do you guys
But I'll start looking for it. But maybe they're only do it in certain places. I don't know.
what about you, Brian, Renz, Nigel? But anyway, this guy says he always compliments the driver. Yeah, I do too. Like, it's really just nothing. Like, do positive ratings equate to anything good for the driver? And Vic answers, "We almost never see our positive ratings, sadly. We get spoken to about our negative ones, though."
Yeah, because he's a subcontractor. They're not going to tell them anything good.
We always, working in CSR, though, you got the good feedback, though.
But I'm saying if he was going to get it, Amazon would have to pass it to the guy he works for as the subcontractor. That's probably how he get it. And Amazon's probably not going to bother even tell that guy that. Is my
This guy,
guess.
I currently drive for Amazon, and it just might depend on your contract dispatch because ours shares that info with us. We see how many positive, negative ratings we got, and in what categories, followed by instructions, friendly, mishandled package. The top 5 drivers each week. So I appreciate the positive feedback. So this other guy, he says he does receive the
Okay,
information.
so I said if they got it, they'd have to get it from the contractor that they work for. So obviously he did. So maybe the guy that Rick worked for just wasn't telling them.
And this is going to be the $1 million question by Titus Magnificus. Have you ever seen or heard about Amazon workers trying to form a union? Any signs of Amazon trying to bust it before it happens? And according to Vic, yes. Amazon will fire any driver or contractor who suggests a union. We're in the face of great odds, but greater odds have been beaten before. Alabama's warehouse fighting for unionization
Yes,
will
they are.
become a national fight.
And we have that story coming up, right?
And yes, we do. And in fact, there's actually going to be, I believe, a driver walkout on Sunday, guys. So no ordering anything from Amazon.
Now, have you ever been in a union?
No,
Person? Okay.
I've never seen.
I've been
I've
in
actually
3
never
unions.
seen the only
I've been in
unions
3
I
unions
ever.
over the years. I do not like unions at all, but that's just me.
Let's see. The only
I've
unions
been
I
in
ever hear about are
in the
teachers'
20s
unions
and
and
30s and
police
yeah,
ones.
20s and 30s. And each time I always felt like
Hmm.
unions were, at least the unions I worked for, and this is back in the 70s and even 60s, but they always tried to make everybody get the same thing. And I always felt like, but I'm doing more. Why should I get the same as the guy who won't? That's how I feel. So for me, unions were useless.
Oh, yeah, good point in that sense. But what in this instance, what would you say is a union useless here?
No, it's probably good. Now, keep it now. To be fair, when my father retired from his job, he was not only in the union, he was the union shop steward, and at the same time, he was third highest guy in the company from the boss. So he was the boss and he was the shop steward, and he had a very good career that way. So I guess it can go both ways with unions. Yeah.
I get. Was he good friends with Jimmy Hoffa?
Uh, Well, we could all walk out to Giant Stadium and probably find Jimmy Hoffa because he disappeared while they were building it. So we all kind of know where Jimmy is. And the mafia unions all built that stadium. So
I think this is going to be the last one I'm going to touch on. So Amazon News put out a tweet saying there's no claims on piss bottles.
okay,
As in, people don't pee on their bottles because they're working so hard.
exactly.
However, every bit of observable reality claims that there are. Can you settle this for us?
And his
And
answer?
ooh, ooh, no, I can't find it.
Oh,
But no, he did. I was reading it, and basically the answer was that. Oh yeah, here it is. 4 days
okay.
ago, there are piss bottles. So many piss bottles. I hated it, and I even had to do it once. Stopped and used trees more than often than I could count. Found other people's discarded piss bottles in my van. It's
Nice,
nasty.
nice. I'm glad I'm me because when people get my in my age range, they have to go to the bathroom like every 5 minutes. Every time we stop somewhere, they have to go to the bathroom. Except me, I'm the one who goes 6, 10 hours without going to the bathroom, so I don't need a piss bottle.
Of course, people don't. It's not just piss bottles. They also use the Amazon bags, like to
Are
poop
you
into.
kidding?
To poop in.
You're kidding.
Yep. There was actually a memo from Amazon, like saying like this is like a L2 infraction, like fireable offense. Don't do it.
That's pretty disgusting.
And I think,
One of those rare times I'm glad I'm me can hold forever.
but there was actually one final thing I was reading on my iPad where he talks
Okay.
about pay, and Vic is from Colorado, and
Okay.
he was paid. He started at $17 an hour. He got qualified to drive larger trucks.
Hmm.
And that moved him up to $20 an hour.
Hmm.
Now that may seem good at first glance in Colorado, but Colorado is apparently
No,
expensive.
it's
Is
very
that true?
expensive in Denver. I know that. Yes, it is very expensive.
How about outside Denver?
I think if you're in the Denver, now keep in mind, Eleanor's oldest daughter lives right outside Colorado Springs, Monument. I think
Hmm.
if you're in that Colorado Springs, Denver corridor, the whole thing is very expensive.
Even Boulder?
I'm not sure about Boulder. I'm guessing yes, because I know a lot of sports stars from multiple sports live in Boulder.
That's
So
a
I'm
shame.
guessing it's expensive.
Oh boy. He also goes on to mention that FedEx and UPS are making 2 to 3 times that. Um, yeah, they actually make FedEx and UPS drivers actually make $60 an hour.
And I think
Um,
personally, I think they deserve every bit of it. That's just my
yeah,
opinion.
yeah.
I've worked for UPS for a Christmas season, and I watch FedEx drivers. I think they earn every cent of it. There are some comments now about this stuff, or at least Brian has one.
There's actually a UPS driver that goes more into detail about his pay. He says he gets paid about $38 an hour as a UPS driver, but with the benefits, it actually comes up to be $60 an hour there.
Okay. And yeah, I don't think you could pay those guys too much for what they do, especially when it's busy.
And if anyone wants to know, some guy asks what's the best way to show thanks to your drivers? And Vic says, leave out snacks. Water and energy bars are appreciated more than anything. So leave out
Oh,
water and
that's cool.
energy bars for your drivers. If you must have something delivered. Often than that, snacks give us energy to finish a long route. And sadly, we don't usually see positive feedback. We only hear the negative ones.
That's good. Yeah, I would give positive feedback to any Amazon or FedEx or UPS that deliver to me, but I don't own the house, so my landlord and his wife usually get all the packages.
Oh, hey, Crystal. Nice of you to
Crystal,
join
say, hey,
the show.
Crystal, glad to see you.
And Brian is like, unions need to be there to protect workers from penalization from yawning.
Brian, I couldn't agree more. That's if they were
Don't
doing that,
waste unions' time with that. No, no, no. You know what protects you from yawning? Masks. If
that
they
is the
wore a
most
mask,
ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my
maybe
life.
if the drivers actually worn a mask, all right, the computer would know that they're yawning to begin with. Did you think about that, Brian?
They probably have some AI that'll detect it.
But yeah, that was actually the surprising thing about that article, where Amazon actually gets to use that data that they use
Yeah,
monitoring.
with third parties. That's yeah,
Because
and the senator asked them, and they wouldn't respond. I would drag them into Congress so fast they wouldn't know what hit
yeah,
them.
because Amazon has its own facial recognition tool, right?
But I mean, you're taking your employees' data and set. That's got to be illegal,
Yeah, because Amazon has its own facial recognition tool. It's like
right?
it's called like Rekognition, but with the K. It's so creepy, and they actually license it out to law enforcement. So yeah, someone should look deeper into
Yeah,
that. Like, what the
somebody
heck?
needs to drag them in front of senators and do something about this nonsense.
Because I always wondered, like, like people who use tracking software, like, do the companies that provide the tracking software, do they use it for anything? Like, surely, like,
Who
just to,
knows? And that's what you'll probably never know. Yeah.
hmm. Ugh. Well, back to this, Brian. The Huawei Mate 10 to 8 gigabytes RAM is $3,000 plus import duty. Whoa, what the heck? That's quite the markup for double the storage.
Now you have to keep in mind, Nigel is very biased because he loves Huawei. Even with all the Samsung stuff he has, he loves Huawei above everybody.
Well, I suppose the next story then will be suitable for Brian. Can you post it up, George?
The is that
The
the
camera
Leica
one.
story?
That's the Leica story.
Okay, I guess I like it then. Oh,
He said he likes it like that.
okay, it's there.
Yeah, Brian, that is whew. Like, I don't even know what kind of tax that is. That's
Okay.
okay.
All right, when you're ready. Oh, is it me or you? It's me, isn't it?
Yeah, it's you.
Okay. All right. So this is on The Verge. A Johnny Ive and Mark Newson designed Leica prototype is headed to auction. The camera is expected to fetch over $200,000.
And Leica and Huawei are like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
One of the best camera brand partnerships, you can ask for.
A rare prototype of a Leica camera crafted by former Apple luminary Johnny Ive and famed designer Mark Newson is being sold at auction in June. The device, which is described as being in B plus condition, has a starting price of 100 pounds. Is that right? Am I saying that right, or is that 100,000? I haven't lived in Britain. You have.
That's euro.
Oh, euro. Okay. That's around $118,000. Okay. And the Lights Photographical Auction House estimates that it'll sell for between €200 and €250, around 235,000 to 295,000. Not bad. The prototype was produced during the development of the one-off Leica infrared camera, which was sold at a charity auction in 2013 for $1.8 million. Wow. While the final product's design shared a lot of similarities with Apple's cheese grater Mac Pro, this prototype appears to have a smooth, reflective finish that looks like an absolute fingerprint magnet. All of us in the tech world are obsessed with fingerprints. The prototype, which is, oh, anyway, there's the pictures of it. The prototype, which is described as showing the final development step of the design process, is equipped with an Apple Semicron. Am I saying that right? Apple Semicron. Okay. 2/50 millimeter ASPH lens. There's no mention of whether it actually functions as a camera, however. Here's the full description from Lights Photographica auction. Photographica, say it. A beautifully sculptured aluminum body with a matching Apple Semicron 2/50 millimeter ASPH lens, both showing distinctive features both designers are famous for. Only one finished camera has been made and was sold at auction in 2013 for an amazing $1.8 million. The prototype we have the pleasure to offer shows the final development step when the camera took its final shape after hundreds of prototype parts had been made and tried. It's a beautiful piece of design and a very special opportunity for Leica collectors. At the time, Leica said a total of 561 models and nearly 1,000 prototype parts were made during the camera's design process. The final Leica infrared camera was sold alongside over 40 other items at the auction, which raised around $26 million in total for charity. Well, that's good. Newson later joined Apple to work under Ive the following year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Coincidence. I guess they must have worked very closely, made him an impression.
So I get the Leica cameras are very, very expensive generally.
We talked about this, George. Yeah.
That's what we talked about last week. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, you were asked to be like, what's the cheapest Leica you could get? And I was like, it had to be like a Leica M3, which is like a film camera that, you know. I was going to ask you to full frame so we can get a view of that beautiful camera. But here's the special edition, Leica M Red edition that sold for $1 million.
Yeah.
Look at it. It's beautiful.
It's pretty, that's for sure.
Oh my gosh.
Ask your girlfriend to get you one.
You're right. You're right. Yeah, I should, shouldn't I?
Yes, you should.
If she loves me, she would get it for me.
Talk she about making a test.
I mean, I think getting the camera, but be like the price is one thing, but like finding someone who is willing to part with it would be the other challenge as well.
Oh, is it that difficult?
Yeah. Yeah, like I don't make too many of them, and people don't like to part with them, sadly. This is the I guess what you would call an Amazon propaganda video for their drivers.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Let's see. Nigel's got a question. Do you know which other smartphone company had Leica cameras on their devices before Huawei? That's a great question. And I don't think there was any other.
I'll bet you Nigel has an answer.
No. Yeah, before Leica, usually it was, what's their name? It was Zeiss that was doing,
yeah, but my mind
partnerships.
I'm not sure if I'm, got something in my mind incorrect, but my mind is saying there was something back a ways with Leica before Huawei got big, but I could be wrong.
Who Who could it be? Yeah, we have Google. Let's go find out.
Yeah, we have to say, who can it be now? Okay.
Let's see. Who? I'm just going to do a general search. Smartphone partnership with Leica. It's probably just going to bring up Huawei. Huawei denies its partnership is expiring. That was in 2018.
So
Huawei.
none before
Huawei.
Huawei.
And then I have to go to number 2 on the Google search.
Okay.
Yeah, nah, it looks.
Okay, so then you were right.
Yeah, it's always been. Xiaomi was trying to work with Canon. Nope, it's always been Huawei.
Okay, cool.
Huawei chose cruise. I'd say Huawei chose very well then, choosing Leica.
Yeah. And Nigel says he knows the answer. So are you not talking or are you telling us, Nigel?
Was it Virtue? Maybe it could. Maybe it's Virtue, guys. But
He's keeping us in suspense.
yeah, like we're holding our breath, Nigel.
Oh, now he's saying no search.
I already said.
He already did the search, Nigel.
You know what? Let's just get to the next story, while Nigel.
I'm pulling it up. I'm sharing. Okay, it's there.
Honor. Oh no!
See, I told you I thought somebody had it before.
Honor is Huawei. That doesn't count.
Oh, that's right. That is not Huawei. But maybe it started with Honor and then they decided to pull it up to Huawei. That's the only thing I can think of.
That doesn't make any sense. And wasn't the P series before Honor? The Leica partnership started with the P series, Huawei P series, and that was before the Honor branding.
That's a Nigel question. He's the expert on Huawei.
The Nokia 1020.
Ah, that wasn't before the P series. I mean, that was before the P series.
That was before the P series. Let's see about this.
What is that, like 6 years ago, something like that?
I'm checking that Wikipedia.
I remember the Nokia 1020.
The Nokia Lumia, this Lumia series, Pure View. Okay.
I had the Pure View.
Okay. If Leica worked on this, they worked on it very quietly. Nigel, are you sure?
Why don't you look up Nokia 1020 and see if it says anything about Leica?
That's what I'm doing right now. Okay, I will share the screen.
There you go.
Nokia Pro camera software. Okay, hold on. So PureView Pro specifications. I had a 41 megapixel backside illuminated CMOS sensor. I believe it was almost a full inch, but not quite. 4.3 aspect ratio. It doesn't tell me who actually manufactured the lens.
Just do a search on the page and see if Leica is mentioned.
Good point. I did Control F. Nothing happened.
Oh, really? Okay.
Come on, guy.
Don't break the keyboard while you're doing it.
Hold on. It's because it's Apple. I keep forgetting. Okay. Leica. Not found.
Okay. Then I guess you're right. But Nigel's saying they had it, so I don't know.
The Nokia had cam. Yes, the Nokia Lumia had cameras. Yeah, we all know. Yes, it had very good cameras.
I knew that.
Pixel size 1.2 ohms, which is very large, even for today's standards. Optical image stabilization. Funny thing is, I thought the lens was actually crafted by Carl Zeiss. Yeah, it was. Yeah, with high performance Carl Zeiss optics. Yeah.
Okay.
Nope. Nothing about here about Leica.
It's seeming more and more like Nigel's is wrong. But
don't get me wrong. Like Nokia Lumia was a fantastic camera. It was like the best on smartphones until like Smartphones caught up to the Nokia Lumia 1020 by what 2018?
2018 to 20, maybe even 2017, as far as I remember.
Yeah, you're remembering that Juan Bagnell video on that, right? When he was comparing it, he brought it back up.
I remember
Nokia
he
1020
had it, but
had
I can't say I remember it that well.
no, Nigel. The Nokia Lumia had pure view cameras. That's what they were calling it, and the lenses were by Carl Zeiss.
You know,
Like, well, how do you mean they were Leica cameras?
Nigel's in his mid 50s too, so he could have the same old
Are
man
you saying
thing
Leica
going
made the
on as I do.
sensors or something? Eh, like it did. No, 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 no. You are confused, Nigel. I'm sorry. All right, I'm sorry. Back to the Amazon. Next story. Amazon.
Okay, this is you, right?
Yes, that is me. All right.
Okay. This is a very good story, by the way,
What did it?
especially compared with what we started with.
No, we didn't find anything, Nigel. There was nothing to find, Nigel.
Nigel, get on your computer and go find us something and come back with it.
All right, let's get it. I'm pulling this story on my iPad.
Okay.
So Amazon is becoming the face of American inequality. Bezos has become a useful foil for Democrats. I don't know what that means. What does that mean, George?
It means they can use him to make themselves more famous. That's basically what it means.
Okay. By Russell Brandon of this is The Verge. In the days leading up to the Bessemer union vote, Amazon is throwing punches, and they're not just aimed at workers. As the Alabama warehouse votes on whether to unionize, Amazon has been facing mounting pressure from progressive lawmakers. And on Friday, the company went on the offensive, calling out Senator Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren for their criticism of the company's policies. That was funny. Yes, I have definitely seen those barbs sent out to Bernie Sanders, where
Well, according to this, they've been going back and forth for days.
Yeah, Amazon was like, Bernie just talks about $15 an hour. We actually pay our employees $15 an hour. Predictably, tweets provoked more tweets, turning into days of jousting between progressives and corporate PR accounts. Over the weekend, Recode broke the news that Bezos had personally encouraged the call out, worrying that his company was being too passive in the face of progressive pressure. Whatever the risk, Bezos clearly sees this fight as a winner. So do Democrats. It's rare to see this much rational involvement in a union drive, but President Biden jumped in earlier this month, expressing support in hedged but unmistakable terms. Amazon is a useful foil for a party trying to recapture working class voters, and Amazon's loose tweets could spark a much bigger fight. As Democrats respond to the economic fallout of the pandemic, Amazon makes an ideal antagonist, making billions while the economy withers. That's a very good point. The pandemic has only intensified that disparity, shutting down in-person retail while Amazon's e-commerce business thrived. The company is the perfect villain for a party that is eager to tell a story about the economic justice, and while Bessemer election will be counted and done in a few days, the fight between Amazon and Democrats may not be. When is their vote going to be done, by the way?
But I got to give a little bit of defense to Amazon. It's not just Amazon who's been making millions during the pandemic. So has Google, so has Microsoft, so has Facebook. So, they're not alone there. But it is generally the tech giants and Walmart also.
And Best Buy.
Okay.
But in this particular case, though, yeah, Amazon employs more employees than Google and Microsoft. And
they probably
Apple.
don't employ more employees than Walmart, though, I bet you.
No, Walmart they're still second to Walmart.
Yeah.
Amazon is much of the Bessemer fight so far has come from Biden's particular commitment to unions as a political force. Biden wants to be seen as a enthusiastically pro-labor, a rare quality for a post-Clinton Democrat, and this is the most important labor effort in years for reasons we describe in detail here. So the Bessemer fight lets Biden stick up for the little guy and suggests his labor board will come down on hard on any irregularities from Amazon, which you can count on
It'll be
Amazon for
interesting
that.
to see if he backs that up.
It casts Biden as a different kind of Democrat with more to offer the working class. It's not just the right thing to do, it's also good politics. Yep.
That's true.
But that political calculus extends far beyond the Bessemer fight. Biden wants to be seen as a bold progressive president taking on an entrenched inequality. A public spat with Amazon makes it clear he's trying, even if more ambitious efforts like the $15 minimum wage, Amazon's preferred remedy, got lost along the way. And since tossing insults at Amazon is easier than reversing decades of economic damage, the feud gives Biden an easy way to show that he's trying. All he has to do is cast Amazon as the face of the problem and the leading edge of everything that's wrong with the American economy. Amazon. Let's see. This month, a new book lays out the same story at a grander scale. Written by ProPublica's Alec McGillis, fulfillment is less about Amazon's business than the social dislocation left in its wake, pairing Amazon's rise to power with the struggles of a cardboard packer in Dayton or a small office supply store in El Paso. Many of the figures in the book aren't even officially Amazon employees, instead working for contractors or selling the company's marketplace. Still, the overall message is clear. Amazon is growing rich and powerful off these people's work while they scramble just to stay alive. In the introduction, McGillis makes the case for Amazon as a poster child of this new style of American business explicitly. As he describes, as he describes it, the idea for his book emerged when he realized Amazon was an ideal frame for understanding the country and what the country was becoming. I'm just going to go ahead and just let me.
Well, you saw what I titled it on my webpage. I said, Amazon, the new robber baron. That's the same. This is the same kind of stuff they used to say about the robber barons. You know, the Vanderbilts and the Rockefellers and those guys. You know.
Yeah. So I was just trying to save this book for later perusing, but just trying to save it to my trying to save this thing to my save for later card on Amazon. But now Amazon wants me to approve the notification. Yeah, I see how it is, Amazon.
I feel almost guilty that I had a book delivered from Amazon today.
Yeah, well, you don't have an ebook. You don't have a Kindle, Joy.
I used to. I don't have. I just wanted this one in hardcover because this is the first hardcover book I've bought outside of a Bible or something Bible related in probably 15 years.
By the way, Nigel wants you to check your Instagram, George.
Okay. I don't know why he just doesn't type it in the comments.
I usually assume that he's sending out links. But let's see. Of course, that economic chasm is much older than Amazon. The landscape of American opportunity has always been skewed, and its latest tectonics date back to at least 50 years. Amazon has been at the forefront of many of those changes, particularly the shift to e-commerce, exurban fulfillment networks, and vastly scalable online interactions. But Amazon didn't cause those shifts. It just positioned itself to benefit from them. McGillis acknowledges as much in how he describes the company, a lens rather than the whole picture in itself.
But see, they're skewing the story but Amazon didn't cause those shifts. It just positioned itself to benefit. Well, isn't that what a company's supposed to do? I mean, come on.
Well, no, it's kind of opposite of what Apple does. Amazon usually causes a shift.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. According to that, Amazon didn't intentionally go after these profits, but I guess because of the way the laws are, it positions itself to benefit to them. Well, that's what companies are supposed to do. To me.
Yeah, true. But as we go into more mobile web marketing, we buy stuff on the web. Yeah, Amazon positions itself. That's what a company is supposed to do.
Yeah, so I just, it's like they're trying to skew the story a certain way. I mean, we already have a low enough opinion of Amazon because of the story itself, but let's not make it worse than it really is. At least that's how I see it. I tend to try to be fair to everybody.
Let's see. Democrats scramble to connect with working class and rural voters. The lens can be a powerful political force. For decades, the party has struggled to describe the crushing divide in the American economy that has pushed wealth to major cities and left the rest of the country to decay. Since 2016, many of the voters on the wrong side of the divide have left the party for Trump, and a trend that is Biden is eager to reverse. Neither party has a meaningful plan to undo the structural damage, but Biden is hoping a surge in federal money will soften the blow, beginning with a $1 trillion relief package and continuing with trillions more in infrastructure spending planned for the spring. More on that story on the next article we bring up, guys.
Exactly.
Democrats are hoping to cast those bills as a contemporary New Deal, rescuing the country from economic ruin while uniting it politically. Portraying Amazon as the face of that ruin and a use of public fight with the company as proof of the party is serious about taking it on is just good messaging. A feud between Democrats and Amazon would also catch Republicans off balance, splitting the party between its populist rhetoric and pro-business policies. Since Trump, Bezos has been a rhetorical foil for Fox News, but Amazon benefited hugely from Trump's tax cut and quadrupled in value over Trump's 4 years in office.
Of course they did. They all did.
Even now, Republicans weighing in on the feud between Sanders and Amazon have found themselves in the awkward position of defending a company they spent much of the past 4 years attacking.
And that's very true.
So, in the Republican sense, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Who does Republicans side with? Amazon or Democrats?
Yeah, he's right. I mean, they're going to be split down the middle.
What we have here is a Mexican standoff, a legitimate one.
I agree. But who's going to benefit? The Democrats are going to benefit, and as they should. That's what I would do too.
Let's see. Sorry, question for the guys in the comments. Need to know. Amazon.
Very, very good, Ted. I like that.
Amazon has plenty of resources to defend itself, though. The company is still wildly profitable. The second largest employer in the U.S., as I said, after Walmart, and the second largest federal lobbyist after Facebook.
Why am I not surprised?
It will have ample chance to soften the blow of any new policies and is better equipped to ride out the changes than nearly any other company on earth. Yeah, I guess they're bigger than Huawei, right?
Yeah.
Congress efforts to change Section 230 have been focused on Google and Facebook rather than Amazon's product liability issues. And Pentagon contract aside, government work is still a relatively small part of the company's business. That is true.
Yeah.
After decades of unbelievable growth, there's only so much that can go wrong, but political pressure will still change Amazon in a profound and unpredictable ways. Facebook was in this position in 2016, suddenly blamed for Trump's election, Brexit, and the fraying condition of liberal democracy across the world. 5 years later, every new project is met with hostility and ambitious politics around the world. Look at the company as a prize waiting to be taken down. Most companies will try to avoid that fate, and after this weekend dust-up, Amazon seems to be leaning into it.
And I got to say, as much as I dislike Facebook as much as anybody else, they did get blamed for Trump's election, Brexit, and they had, they weren't responsible for either one,
I want to say they were responsible, but they sure were the gasoline on that fire.
Well, I just think to blame them is kind of ridiculous. That for either one, So I find myself in a position of defending Facebook, but who? Surprised.
But my whole thing with the article is this, Amazon might be the perfect, home run ball might be the perfect problem for Democrats to point, instead of dealing with the problem.
Yeah.
Political parties would just be saying, Amazon's to blame. Look at what they're doing. And meanwhile, not do anything about the problem.
All they care about is getting more glory for themselves, more money for themselves. And that's all not any of them care about. But what I think of politicians. So
Like I don't like we don't need finger pointing. We just need
exactly.
we
But
need
finger
some
pointing is what pays in the press, doesn't it?
yeah. Okay, okay. Next story.
Okay, I'm clicking on it now. And this is a follow up to our story from last week, basically,
Which is that? What you got?
the LG story. Because last week we had the LG saying that because
I
the
actually skipped that
Vietnamese
story.
group.
Let's skip that one and let's do this Biden one. Let me put up this
Are
Biden
you going
one.
to skip? Don't confuse
I'll
me.
come
I'm
back
an
to
old man.
it.
We're not going to have time to come back. I'm trying to. My computer's going slow. Wait a minute. You got it?
Yeah, I got it up. Boom. There
Okay.
you go. Haha. Speaking of that infrastructure bill, oof, sorry, my knees. Leg is starting to hurt. All this sitting.
Oh, so you went way
Hold on.
down.
What's he say? I'm shrinking. George, Nigel wants you to share information that I sent with the live stream. What's he talking about, George?
That he sent with the live stream. Oh, I never did get to look at mine. Something about OnePlus and something about, yeah, it's about
He wants.
OnePlus. Yeah, well, probably not now because we're trying to stay on topic. Oh, OnePlus. Oh, OnePlus Leica camera lenses. It's a story from December 18th of 2020. So which one we
Oh,
going? We going with Biden, or you want me to send you this story from?
yeah. Why don't you share that story after I'm done with this Biden one?
Okay, I'll send it to
Better.
you because you're in control. I can't pull it up there.
I mean, I'll share the screen once I put down mine.
Okay.
So Biden promises broadband for all. Biden promises broadband for all in $2 trillion infrastructure plan. Yay! President Joe Biden on Wednesday returned to Pittsburgh, where he kicked off his run for presidency in 2019 to take the wraps off his next big legislative priority, the plan to modernize U.S. infrastructure. The U.S. infrastructure package will cost $2.25 trillion, includes money for a wide range of products from improving and maintaining roads, bridges, to spending $100 billion over the next 8 years to deploy broadband throughout rural America, according to the White House. Biden plans also promises to reduce the cost of broadband for low-income individuals in an attempt to make broadband more affordable. Yay! Maybe we don't all have to go to cities after this. During his speech at Union Hall, Biden talked about the fact that more than 30 million Americans, including 35% of rural Americans, live in areas without access to broadband, and in urban and suburban markets where broadband is available, it is often too expensive for no reason. This reality hits minority families harder than white families, creating digital inequities.
Yeah.
The coronavirus pandemic, which led to shutdowns across the country, made the issues even more apparent, especially for students who struggle to connect to the internet for distance learning. We will make sure every single American has access to high quality, affordable, high speed internet, Biden said during his speech. When I say affordable, I mean it. I remember when milk was only 30 cents a quart.
If you're trying to do
Americans
Biden, you're terrible at it.
Americans pay too much for internet service. We're going to drive down the path for families who have service now and make it easier for families who don't have affordable service to get it now. The Build Back Better agenda is a comprehensive effort for the president that the president promises will boost the economy, address climate change by reducing carbon emissions, and reduce economic inequality. The spending plan goes well beyond just addressing updates and maintenance to the nation's highway and transit systems, with improvements to water systems, electrical grids, as well as investment in broadband, 5G wireless, and supply chains. Another major emphasis of the plan are efforts to reduce greenhouse gases. through electric cars and funding for research and development to target areas with which the U.S. is falling behind China, such as semiconductor and batteries. The president believes we can bring affordable, reliable, high speed broadband to every American through the historic investment of $100 billion. Uh, Biden's proposal has two main parts. First, called the American Jobs Plan, which was discussed in his speech on Wednesday, focuses on traditional infrastructure like roads, bridges, and broadband expansion. The second initiative will be announced on April, which focuses on policy that Biden believes will help rebuild the post COVID-19 economy, such as universal pre kindergarten education, child tax credits, and paid leave. Billions will be put towards programs to support the elderly and disabled, as well as initiatives for affordable housing and infrastructure and manufacturing. Biden said that taking together the two parts of his plan will help lift up the middle class. We will all do better when we all do well. It is time to build our economy from the bottom up and from the middle out, not the top down. While things like closing the digital divide are more infrastructure issues like improving and maintaining roads, bridges, and waterways are largely a bipartisan issues, the hefty price tag and the expensive nature of Biden's plan are likely to face stiff resistance from Republicans and even some moderate Democrats in Congress. Biden plans to play for this by spending with tax increases for wealthy Americans and large businesses. He promises that Americans making $400,000 a year will not see an increase in tax.
Well, we've heard Biden that said, before.
No,
right?
Yeah, that was his campaign promise.
No. Back in the Obama years, when they did the tax increases, they said the middle class wouldn't get tax increases, and the middle class did get tax increases along with the wealthy.
Ooh. How much was the middle class? Was it $100,000 a year?
I don't remember what it was, but I just remember they were all promising the middle class wouldn't get touched. Well, they did. And politicians always say that. They always say the same thing. And as far as his here in Tennessee, I would welcome the bridges and roads stuff. But as far as our economy, we don't need his help. Our economy in Chattanooga is booming and has been booming. We got building for private and business all over the place.
That's very good for Chattanooga, George.
Yeah, I don't know about the rest of Tennessee, but here we've been booming for a while already.
Let's see. Congressional Republicans who refuse to support the $1.9 trillion COVID stimulus package, saying it was too expensive, but they were more than happy to take the credit for it.
Of course they will. They're politicians.
Are unlikely to go for any tax increases. Lawmakers such as Senate Minority Mitch McConnell of Kentucky argued that tax increases will damage the U.S. competitiveness, just as the economy struggles to rebound from the pandemic. What are we being competitive on is what I'm curious about.
That's what I was wondering what he meant to.
I don't think there's going to be any enthusiasm on our side for a tax increase, says the guy who makes more than $400,000 a year as a U.S. senator.
Exactly.
Not because he's a U.S. senator. I actually don't know how he makes his money. Earlier this month, when asked
same way all politicians make their money, they put it in their pocket. Don't get me started. You know how I feel about politicians.
Rural broadband to get a boost. I should have skipped to this story. Sorry.
Plus the fact, this same rural broadband, of all the stuff Biden's mentioning, the one I do not trust is the rural broadband, because both Democrats and Republicans has been making the same promise for years, and nothing has changed for people in rural America at all. Just there's Jerry from Android Central. He lives in rural West Virginia, and he pays through the nose for the slowest speed in the country.
Let's see. The plan is meant to ensure that Americans living in rural areas and tribal lands will have access to broadband, and will also make broadband more affordable to the millions of people who live in urban and suburban markets where service is unaffordable. Allegheny County Executive of Rich
Allegheny,
thank you, who represents the county in Pennsylvania where Biden will present his plan, said the investment in broadband infrastructure is very much needed. While urban areas like Pittsburgh and its surrounding suburbs may well be connected to broadband, Fitzgerald noted that the access to high-speed internet in areas is lacking. He's just telling me a problem we already know.
That's
it's
very
a sentiment that
true,
resonates throughout the country. There are places in South Carolina you might as well be on the moon when it comes to getting high-speed internet access. Republican South Carolina Republican Tim Scott introduced the State Fix Act, a bill designed to get funding to broadband providers to build broadband networks in underserved areas. Do
Underserved.
broadband networks, are they not getting, like, are they not making profits to improve their
But
infrastructure?
but this
I
is the
thought
same stuff they've been saying both
I
on
thought
both
that was the
sides of the
whole
aisle for
point.
like 12 years or something, and nothing's changed.
I thought that was the whole point. Like, why Egypt? Give me some beautiful. Why Egypt? Why he repealed the that
Yeah,
what did he take out?
that's my point. It doesn't matter who's in charge. They all make the same promises. Nothing happens. Only reason I have fairly good service in the chat because I live in the third biggest city in the state. But if I didn't, I wouldn't. You know.
Let's see. The digital divide. Confused by something. The digital divide problem is that's dogged policymakers for decades, in spite of billions of dollars spent by the federal government each year to get more Americans connected. There are still at least 19 million Americans who have. So, what exactly is going with this money? Like, do we give it to like the Verizons and the companies to say, all right, here's the money,
I
go improve the
hope not.
networks? Like,
I, I
do
doubt it. I would think it would go to the states or the area counties or states. That's who I would think would be in control because they're the ones who are going to hire the people to put the broadband infrastructure in. So I'm hoping you don't give it to Verizon and AT&T and T-Mobile.
and like Fast and Rise and all these companies I heard about and Suddenlink.
Yeah.
Do,
Yeah. So yeah, I would think it would have to go to the counties and states. That would be the logical thing to do. And Nigel, to answer your question, I cannot share the information because Ted's in charge of the stream. He can share the information. I can't.
all right, as soon as I'm done with this story, Nigel, George will be back in charge.
I already
Oh,
sent you the one story he sent in Instagram. I sent it to your Instagram.
I disabled my Instagram, George.
But then I have nowhere to send it.
Oh, Congress has been allocating funds to address the digital divide since the pandemic began a year ago. Mississippi was one such state, allocating $65 million of its CARES Act funding to grants for electric co-ops, which used the money to accelerate the build-out of gigabit speed broadband service on fiber optic infrastructure. That's a very big ask, Mississippi. Wow, yeah. I would think you would start slowly, like improve you from dial-up to DSL, but you're going straight to gigabit. All right, Mississippi.
Yeah, good luck
Funds
with that.
allocated by Congress in December COVID relief bill are now being used to provide a $50 a month subsidy to low-income individuals to pay for broadband service. Very good. More money for broadband is coming from the latest COVID relief legislation signed into law earlier this month. Why millions of Americans still lack broadband in a time when it's no longer optional? But that's a good question. There is a sense that the Biden administration and Democrats, such as the House Majority Whip James E. Clyburn and Senator Amy Klobuchar of Minnesota, want to go bigger. Early this month, Clyburn and Klobuchar introduced the Accessible, Affordable Internet for All Act in the House, and that the Senate would allocate $94 billion to make affordable broadband internet access available nationwide. The legislation is an effort to close the digital divide. Let's see.
I
Let me
think that
scroll.
Amy Klobuchar, I think she's probably the one I would trust the most out of that whole bunch.
Let's see. Let's say Americans pay too much for the internet, much more than people in many other countries. The president is committed to working with Congress to find a solution to reduce internet prices for all Americans, increase adoption in both rural and urban areas. Okay, I feel like we're just repeating stuff at this point.
Well, plus the fact, how are you going to reduce internet prices for all Americans? It's the private companies who are in control of that. They're not going to lower their prices.
Let's see. Powell, who served as chairman for federal FCC commission under George W. Bush W., also took the issue with Biden's assertion that the broadband prices are too high and his intimation that the government needs to regulate rates. Government does have a critical role to play in getting networks to areas that lack service and helping low-income families afford it, Powell said. However, those targeted shared goals are not served by suggesting wrongly that the entire network is ailing and that the solution is either to prioritize government-owned networks or micromanage private networks, including unfounded assertion that the government should be managing prices. What does he mean by that?
I don't know.
The White House is elected to go big on broadband infrastructure, said Michael Powell. The cable industry's main lobbying group, the NCTA, cable industry's main lobbying, oh, so he's the devil. But it risks taking serious wrong turn and discarding decades of successful policy. Well, Mr. Powell, if 30% rural America does not have broadband internet, is it really so successful that by suggesting that the government is...
What does it say? The cable industry's main lobbying. As long as there are lobbying groups, we're never going to know where this money goes because most of it's going into a politician's pocket.
Huh. Ah, end of story. Stop screen. And thanks for stopping by, Renz. You have a great weekend.
Oh, thanks, Renz. Have a great weekend. Enjoy your Easter.
Yes, Easter. And then I will just leave George to share whatever the hell Nigel wants to be shared.
He sent it to me in Instagram. I don't know where else to share it. I need to get it to you because you're in control. I mean, if I were running the stream, I could share it, but I can't share it from yours.
Yeah, put it up so I can share it, George.
How can I put it up? I'm just a guest in the stream. You're the one in charge of the stream.
Is it a story or is it like just a link?
It's a story. The first one is a story from Android Authority. And it was published in December 18th, 2020. Upcoming OnePlus flagships may feature Leica camera lenses. So it's still not, so it's still only the one company because it said may feature camera lens. That doesn't mean they've done it. They certainly haven't done it yet. But it's on Android headlines.
Pardon me, guys. I'm just changing my lighting setup.
Oh, so we get to say lighten up, Ted? Ooh.
Got it. Oh.
You sound like so much work.
Let's see.
Doesn't Nigel have your Twitter? Yes, he does.
He does have.
Give it to him. Well, then have him send it to your Twitter.
It's a lot of work on this. All right, fine. I'll go look for it on Twitter.
Nigel, you need to send it to Ted on Twitter.
There we go. Yeah, let there be light. All right, more balance, more light. Haha.
All right, you're in charge, so I still have to, you still got to tell me where we're going. We skipped a bunch of stories.
Yeah, there we go. Beautiful. No, he hasn't shared it to my Twitter, though.
Okay. All right, so go on to whatever story you want to pick. I mean, these are your stories. So you're in charge.
All right.
You the man.
Let's see. Next story. Let's see. So many.
I think the Click Farm story is pretty interesting because I never heard of them.
Let's do the LGs.
Okay.
No, we've been talking about this back and forth. I'll just look for the Android headlines.
Okay.
Android headline story.
Okay. It was published on December 18th, and the name of the story is Upcoming OnePlus Flagships May Feature Leica Camera Lenses.
December 18th? So it's an old
December
news.
18th, 2020. Yes.
That's old news then.
I
It was a
knew
rumor,
that.
and it didn't pan out.
And even then, it was a May. I'll bet you it's not going to happen.
Sorry, Nigel. Okay. But while we were on the topic of Nokia 1020s, let us talk about the Nokia 808.
What was the? We had this. We had the story with the Nokia 808. Oh yeah,
We sure did.
the Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra. That's where it was. You want to go to that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. You're doing it. Okay.
You gonna tell the story?
I would if you'd let me control it, but you're controlling it. I've got mine shared. I mean, I can share mine.
I mean, read the story.
Oh, okay. All right. This is on Ars Technica. Smartphones are finally matching 2012's Nokia 808 in camera sensor size. It's got a rear screen ceramic body and a really big camera bump. You should show the picture. The pictures are right below it. Oh, yours doesn't show. Okay, there it is. They're right. It's got a huge camera bump.
Yeah, it's also got a screen too, if you guys can see it.
Yes, it does. Yeah, and it mentioned that here in the story. Following a leak in February, Xiaomi's Mi 11 Ultra went official today. This phone's main claim to fame is the inclusion of a second display tucked away inside the camera bump, and that's what we just saw. Plus, now that the official specs are out, we can see that the world's largest camera bump also houses one of the world's largest smartphone camera sensors, the Samsung GN2. The base specs are on the high end for a high-end, sounds like double talk. The base specs are on the high end for a high-end 2021 Android phone. 120 hertz, 6.81 inch, 3200 by 1440 front OLED display, a Snapdragon 888, 12 gigabytes of RAM, 250 gigabytes of storage, IP68 dust and water resistance, Android 11 with MIUI, and a 5,000 milliamp battery. Xiaomi offers 67W wired and wireless charging, which along with OnePlus is a tier above most other phones. It does have some heavy-duty specs. I got to give them that. Xiaomi touted the 5,000 milliamp battery as being a silicon oxygen battery, although the company failed to point to any serious benefits from its new battery formula. There's also Wi-Fi 6E, which greatly expands the capacity of Wi-Fi by adding 6 gigahertz spectrum alongside the existing 2.4 and 5 gigahertz bands. Okay, I went too far. Okay. On the back, you get a 1.1 inch 126 by 294 display with touch support. Xiaomi says the rear display supports an always-on display mode showing the time, date, and notifications. That sounds interesting. It can also act as a tiny viewfinder for rear camera selfies. There are 3 rear cameras, but the big news is that the main camera features a Samsung GN2 sensor. This is a giant 50 megapixel 1.112 sensor with 1.4 pixel size and quad pixel binning. The 1.112 sensor size means modern smartphones are finally starting to match the Nokia 808's hardware, a groundbreaking camera phone released all the way back in 2012. The 808 also had a 1.112 sensor with a 1.4 pixel size, and despite being 9 years old, it's still able to stand up to modern devices. Interesting.
I'm waiting for those phone sensors to get up to 1 inch. That's what I'm waiting for, man. Give us that 1 inch sensor smartphones.
Well, then they have to make. Then they either have to make them bigger or thicker. True. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. True.
Yeah. I can do. And I don't mind bigger and thicker, but a lot of the techies seem to mind it. You know that.
It's going to be thick. Make it thick.
Yep. Since the Nokia 808 launched, modern image stacking techniques and newer AI models means smartphone manufacturers can squeeze more and more photo quality out of a smaller camera sensor. These are all improvements in camera software, though, and if phone manufacturers would give up on their obsession with thin devices, I agree, there are major advancements that could be made in camera hardware too. There was nothing really magic about the Nokia 808. Nokia just prioritized the camera hardware on the 13.9 millimeter thick body. Xiaomi seems to have followed a similar strategy. It lists the Mi 11 Ultra at 8.3 millimeter, but it looks like that measurement is without the camera bump. Okay, they're getting slick. While with the camera bump, the phone looks to be 2 or 3 millimeters thicker. Samsung isn't the only company pushing bigger camera sensors. The Sony IMX800 is rumored to be
Yes.
1 inch. There you go, Ted.
Yes. Let that be on the Xperia One Mark III. Yes, that's what
Then
I
you
need.
then you'd get an Xperia right away, I assume, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. No phone can go out the door today without multiple rear cameras. So the device is also packing what looks to be standard issue 48 megapixel wide angle and 5 times optical zoom cameras, both using the Sony IMX586. The camera bump isn't the only thing special about this phone. The device features a rare ceramic back. Cool. A feature we last experienced on the Essential phone. Yeah, well, we can do without that. We can't say ceramic has any huge benefits over the usual glass back. It's often said to be more scratch resistant, but it's just as prone to shattering. Xiaomi also says the phone's Harman Kardon stereo speakers, a Samsung brand, are the loudest in the industry. The Mi 11 Ultra goes on sale internationally. Xiaomi's press release doesn't say when, for €1,199 or about $1,411. That's what I had seen the price the other day, and I said no, because I'm going to spend another $1,400 on a phone. It's going to be on the next Duo.
Boom.
That's just me, though. So anyway, yeah, it sounds like a really impressive phone. I'm just not spending, $1,400 on 2 different phones in the same year. That's just not going to happen.
Renz is still here. Let's see what Renz say.
Oh.
Would you believe? Oh, yeah, I would believe
Yeah,
it.
yeah, we would believe it, Renz, because they're talking about $1,400 here in the U.S. So yeah, so it's probably going to be more than $1,200. So Renz, you should buy me one.
Okay, next story. Boom.
Which one we going to?
Ooh, hold on. What is this? I thought we did this already.
Which one? Tell me.
Ooh, let's do this one by Rogue Rocket.
Okay, got you. Yeah, this was an interesting story, and this was a very weird. This is a very weird bug too.
Yep. Okay. Second featured story of the day, folks. Published 2 days ago by Corey Ray, Apple's next iOS update will finally fix a bug that blocks searches of Asian as adult content.
That's very weird.
According to the tweet by Charlie Stigler, iOS built-in add content filter blocks all searches with the keyword Asian, assuming that it's porn related.
Isn't that stupid?
Which means that a 12-year-old Chinese American girl, all right, that's a lot of, might Google Asian hairstyles and find out that her culture is blocked as adult content. Let's see, do I go through the blurbs? No, I'll just read the story.
Yeah,
Apple's upcoming, let me actually just, you don't need to see all this ads that's on the side of the article. There we go, guys. See how I do for you? Apple's upcoming iOS update is set to fix a bug that currently blocks searches featuring the word Asian as adult content. That includes terms like Asian food, Asian Americans, Asian culture, local Asian market, and even simply the word Asian itself. For those terms to be blocked, iOS users must be searching on Safari and need to have their settings in content restrictions on limit adult websites. While millions of Americans undoubtedly have never enabled this content setting, as one Twitter user noted, this means a 12-year-old Asian, like many other users, that person also noted that the filter is likely blocking these searches because it assumes Asian is porn related.
Why would you assume that? I don't get that.
That's why it's a bug. These bugs, they don't act rationally most of these times,
Ridiculous.
It's not like there was a human behind this bug, and
Exactly. It sounds like a very prejudiced human, in my opinion. Just my opinion.
Or prejudiced bugs, It's interesting to note that the tweet isn't recent. In fact, it's from February of last year, and according to Mashable, people have been trying to get Apple to fix this bug since December 2019. In an interview, one man even told the outlet that Apple said nothing officially after he reported the issue. The bug is now resolved in iOS 14.5 beta. However, most users will have to wait until sometime later this spring for the widespread rollout of that app, of that
Yeah.
software version.
Right.
Changes come amid growing awareness of violence against Asian Americans. So why only now fix the bug? As many outlets have reported, this is likely in response to the growing conversation around violence against Asian Americans. Criticisms against the bug also resurfaced when users who had these parental settings turned on found themselves unable to search for the term "Stop Asian Hate." Yeah, that would also do it. That led to Danny Sullivan, Google's public lead, in stressing that this was an issue on Apple's end.
Well, obviously it is.
Like Google was getting flack for what Apple was doing. Like, hold on, this is it. This
Exactly.
is it. It's like when people ask Siri to Google something, and there's like, "Hey,
Exactly.
Google,"
Yeah.
like, "Hey, you ask Siri." Blame the middleman on this one. I'll just leave this up. The fix also comes after the March 16th shooting in Atlanta, Georgia, where 8 people, including 6 Asian women, were murdered, according to police. The shooter was motivated by a god-awful sex addiction. And as a result, Western culture's hypersexualization and fetishization of Asian women has been thrust under a national spotlight.
And you know what's weird about that whole story?
Hmm?
The press has been trying to push as white guys going after Asians. And who has committed the most violence against Asians since I was a kid? Black people. Always has been, still is.
I think that's mainly for Los Angeles and
No, that's also
Asians who
New
have
York. That
storefronts.
was New York when I was a kid. That never changes. And I know, you know why? Because there
Why?
are more successful Black Asian businesses in Black neighborhoods than anybody else. It has been since I was a little kid. And that hasn't changed. It's still true.
Like I noticed, like whenever there's like a ride or something, it's usually like the mom and pop bodega stores that are run by Asians that
Right.
get it.
That's been a source of angst to a certain amount of Black people. Like I said,
I don't call it angst. I would just call it crime in that particular instance, because
no, because they, even way back when, they particularly went after the Asians because they're successful. Keep in mind, what group comes to this country since probably before I was born and ends up being the most successful in the country? Always Asians. Always.
Yeah, usually Asians are more
Yeah,
successful.
Harvard won't even let
Do
them
well.
in anymore because they tend to dominate, because they always succeed. California passed laws against them getting scholarships because they're always ahead of everybody else. They're ahead of everybody, Black, white, and everybody else. Because they're achievers, because their families push them to be achievers, and they still are. And people get jealous about it.
I don't particularly think that's the reason why they get robbed when they own the stores in those troubled communities.
Oh, no. Some of the I've heard some of the Black guys years and years ago. They think they're robbing them. Well, why don't you open your own store and you rob them? It never made sense to me. But it's nothing but racism. I don't care who's doing it.
How does your comment work? Like, why don't you open a store? Like, imagine opening a non-Asian person opening a store in Chinatown.
No. I meant open the store in the Black community, because most of those stores in those Black communities are owned by Asian people. Have been since I was a little kid. That hasn't changed.
Yeah,
That's
where a lot of what I remember too in New York.
A lot of the crime comes from.
I actually don't remember much crime in my growing up from in the 90s when I was in New York.
It was there. It was there when I was a kid.
But I don't particularly. I don't think they were. I don't think they were targeted because they were Asian. They were targeted because there was a good store.
No,
people didn't want to,
because they were Asian and making money, and a lot of Black men felt like they were getting ripped off by these people. I've heard them say it. I've heard people say it on jobs. Even before you were born, I've heard it.
Like what was that? What was that film? Naughty Menace to Society. Usually,
I
when a robbing is
I know.
happening, it's the person's race isn't really considered. They just don't want to pay for the goods. It's
If,
not because of that person's race.
if you look at statistics, like Thomas Sowell, he's a statistician. He's always been a statistician. He's probably the most brilliant man in America too. But he can show you statistics going back hundreds of years where
Hmm.
Asian Americans always succeed any country they go to, and they always start getting violence to get them. Doesn't matter what country they're in.
I mean, you could say the same thing about Jews as well, but like I
Except
don't think
nobody
people are getting
succeeds in
saltiness.
other countries as well as Asians do. Never have. Now I'm talking hundreds of years.
Yeah, I think Jews would fall
And,
into that
and
category as well.
they've never succeeded as well as the Asians. Just succeed everywhere because they outwork everybody else, and they always have. Probably always will. So people
Yeah,
get jealous about it.
I don't think that that's the reason. Like over years before this whole COVID thing,
Look,
that's why
look
they
at
were
the,
targeted.
look at the statistics for hundreds of years. The
I'm
facts
not.
are
I'm
there.
not. I'm not arguing that the statistics of Asians like succeeding because of
No. I'm
being the
talking
whole
about look
model
at the
minority thing.
statistics of violence against them for
Yeah,
hundreds
I'm
of years.
sure they got the violence because they were in crime-ridden areas.
No. They got the violence because they were succeeding in other people's countries where those people weren't succeeding as well. Same as they get now. Same exact thing. And
Okay, well,
this has happened all over the world.
well, fast forward now to COVID times.
Okay.
I will say, besides this white guy, murdering,
And
six
I do
Asian
think
women,
he
targeting
weird
massage
sexual
parlors.
addiction.
Yeah, I do. I will say though that I have noticed, besides the mass shootings, it's been quite a few black people who have been targeting Asians.
Yes.
Yeah, the last two attacks I noticed were by black people, and there was also a third one. Yeah, he was white. Where it's always against the elderly Asians too. That's what's
Yeah, I know.
repugnant about it
Yeah,
as well.
they're easy targets. That's why.
That's horrible.
Yeah. Nothing new.
But in this particular instance, and where the Asian women are fetishized, I think that's usually done by
Yeah, and that
mostly
would
by
make
the white
that
men
makes
who are behind the code, and yeah.
sense to me because I've even known some white guys who had this fetish for Asian women, so that makes sense to me.
You'd always know that old uncle who would have those Asian robes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's true. And I've known guys like that.
Okay,
Now,
so let's see.
if these guys want to target elderly people, well, I'm 76 years old. Come target me. Let's see who wins that fight. Feel free anytime.
Being a Filipino Chinese in society now is very hard. I look like people in the mainland China. I promise you that.
Yeah, I can understand that, Renz. That makes perfect sense to me.
Oh, and Renz is actually saying, regardless of where we are placed, we're being targeted.
Oh, by fellow Asian and other. Oh,
He's
really?
being targeted by fellow Asians and other.
Yeah, I didn't. I never heard that.
members.
Of course, you would know, and I wouldn't. So,
Yeah, he's in
that's
Philippines.
interesting.
That is wow.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yeah. Well, unfortunately, Renz, yeah, if you came here, it wouldn't be any much better because you wouldn't be. There is no discrimination at all besides the discrimination on being Asian, having Asian features.
Renz, come to Chattanooga. Between you and me, we'll beat the crap out of all of them.
My goodness. But yeah, I guess a mass shooting would have Apple change its policy real quick.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I just that was like the most stupid policy. Anything Asian is automatically porn. That is so dumb and racist.
problematic. Yes, indeed. But actually, this is a repeat, though. This has happened before, and it will probably happen again. The earliest
software?
remember, huh?
In software?
Oh yeah. This was beautiful. For Google Photos, when it first came out, and it was adopting those new search terms. If you typed gorillas, if you search for gorillas, Google Photos would bring up black people.
Really?
Yep.
And And I'm sure they're going to try to tell me, but that was a mistake because there was nobody in the company racist doing that. Yeah, right.
You're like, oh, we don't know how that happened. Like,
Yeah,
if it was like 50 Cent and G Unit, which was like, the full word for them was like Gorilla Unit,
Mhm.
maybe, but it wasn't. It was just like any old black person, like, oh, here you go.
Okay.
Like we gave you all the search of what might fall under gorillas. We're Google. We try to get all the search to make it easier for you.
I mean,
And
you had
then
the same attitude 200 years ago in the rural South. It's unbelievable. It's amazing how evil people can be. It just amazes me sometimes.
and by extension, it appears software too.
Yeah. Well, who does
Machine learning, when machine learning is coming out, it's able to learn biases and other harmful societal
Well, as
concepts.
the AIs get smarter, they may just decide that we're too evil to exist, and they may take care of us.
And what was the third? Oh, the second one after that was I noticed was YouTube. It was these like groups of creators where they felt that YouTube search algorithm had biases, and so
Really?
I think it was like they were
Based
doing
on race?
not race so much, but search terms or label terms. And I think they did like a 2 or 3 month study on where they all created brand new channels. They all
Right.
uploaded different kind of videos with different search terms and label terms and tags. And what they had noticed was like terms like I can't remember the rest of the terms, but there was one specific one like lesbians.
Mhm.
Like anything that had the term lesbians was automatically like it did not do well under the algorithm under
It
no
got pushed down.
circumstances.
Okay.
Where instead, however, if you just said lesbian in the single sense, in the single form, then that would
Oh,
do okay. But
okay. So
as soon as
plural was the problem.
plural, yeah, as soon as you added the yes, whoa, YouTube wanted
Interesting.
nothing to it. Like it was suppressed the heck out of it, and there was some other terms,
It's funny. I never
and
heard of that. This
and
story.
yeah, I believe Susan, the CEO of YouTube, was questioned about it. Hey, are certain terms, suppressed on YouTube? And her response was, "It shouldn't be,"
Yeah.
which
Look
means
look at Renz's comment.
which probably means that I don't know what were we to take it as maybe the machine learning learned that to like, hey, let's suppress lesbians by itself, or like
But yeah,
maybe it's not a company policy, but maybe
that
the
would
machine
kind of
learning.
make sense because the plural and the singular. Yeah, I could see where a machine might make that, might make that mistake. Look at Renz's
But
comment.
let's see. Tried before searching for gorilla to show my kid, but a black eye was shown. Oh shit!
Yeah, so it still happens. Okay.
But this was under Google Photos, not just like a Google search. Like, Jesus.
Right.
Okay, so next story. That was a feature story.
Well, you generated a good story with some good discussion that time. I'll say that.
Yeah, but to be honest, it was only a matter of time before while the whole Asian hate was happening because of Trump, the whole Kung Flu thing. It was only a matter of time before a mass shooting happened.
Well,
This guy.
It's a matter of time before some mass shooting happens. That's always going to happen, no matter who it is, and no matter who's in charge.
The 3 massage parlors, Jesus Christ! And then he was on his way to Florida to do even more. Like, come on,
Yeah, right.
Hate crime. Let's see.
Right,
Okay,
where we're going.
Oh yeah, let's do the one that you wanted to do as well. The Asian farming. Oh my God, Asian farming. The click farming.
There you go. You see, you did that to yourself. Yeah, I just thought this was. I never heard of this before you put this. All right, I'm sharing it now. Okay, I got it.
This was actually a story that was initially investigated by what's his name, Casey Neistat's company Beam before or while it was still under CNN before it got closed down.
Okay, I didn't know that. Anyway, I got a shit. Okay.
They talked about it briefly. Like they didn't really go full depth as these people.
Yeah, it's an interesting story. Anyway, this is on core77.com. And this story is by Rain No. It's from December 11th, 2018. Is that when this was published?
Yep.
Looks like. Okay. Anyway, never heard of it. I live out in the middle of nowhere, but I still get tons of scam-tastic Mandarin robocalls. It makes me miss the days of being emailed by Nigerian princes. I thought that was a great line. Scams evolve as
I miss
technology
those too.
improves,
They were
and
those
nowhere
were
is
good
this more
reading. Whatever
evident.
happened to those things?
I don't know if they stopped, thank God. And nowhere is this more evident than in the proliferation of click farms. Click farms set up banks of inexpensive computers and smartphones and staff them with low-paid workers who artificially boost your social media accounts. Download apps to boost rankings, load the same YouTube video to inflate views, or repetitively click on ads to fool advertisers into thinking they're getting their money's worth. Seeing inside these click farm operations is truly astonishing. I mean, look at all those phones that girl has in front of her. It's amazing. Look at that. Wow.
Yeah. And hold on.
The pictures kind of say it all, you know.
Yeah. And that is only one person managing all that.
Well, that's one person at the top one, but this one had a guy. But look at how many he's managing. It's amazing.
I need to get that on my team.
This operation in China reportedly has more than 10,000 phones in use. I can understand that. In this one, picture. Oh, it's a YouTube video. Should I click on it, you think?
Nah.
Video is unavailable anyway. Okay. In this one, which has a combination of computers and smartphones, the employees even appear to be wearing uniforms. Wow. By the by, to set up a click farm, you didn't buy tons of phones. This farm in Thailand, which was reportedly set up by a trio of Chinese nationals to boost WeChat stats, had less than 500 phones, but rotated nearly 350 SIM cards. Wow. Police got wind of it and arrested the men running the operation. They reported that they earned US dollars 2,950 to 4,400 per month, which comes out to 35,400 to 52,800 per year. That's not bad. That's presumably a lot more than an actual farmer earns in China. I wouldn't be a bit surprised. I wonder how much the woman who recorded the Mandarin robocall was paid and how much her handlers earn. Yeah, and that's who's probably getting the money. So anyway, that's interesting. I would have never knew such a thing existed. So you get a few hundred phones and then you get thousands of SIM cards and you're in business. That's amazing.
Now, it's good, but what if we try to take this to the next level? Report. Hit the report button. Get those video takedowns. Yes.
Well, that's true. That's true. That's an amazing stuff. To me, it was anyway. We are 8 minutes from 10, just letting you know.
And there's one particular. All right, let me see which one. Screw the LG one. I will report it on it when it actually happens. Okay. Let me see something that's boom.
Which one?
Our final stories tonight, gentlemen and lady, if you're still here with us, Crystal. Let me add the stream. Boom. Ladies and gentlemen.
I'm right there. Yeah, this is a follow-up story for us because we did a story on this mask a couple of months ago, remember?
We sure did. And it was a proof of concept. But gaming firm Razer greenlights high-tech N95 face masks. Even with the rollout of COVID vaccines picking up, it seems Razer is betting that there's a future in personal safety gear. I wish you motherfuckers had put this out sooner. Damn waste of space. I could have been out here in style, but you had to just do it for the clout. Ugh.
Do you have to use that expression?
The Project Hazel N95 facial. Well, yes, if someone won't give me something where I can just throw my money at them. Yeah.
Okay. I think it's cool looking too. That's just me though.
Yeah, guys, look at it. Look at it. Oh,
I like it.
Oh,
I liked it from the first time we reported on it.
Hold on.
I don't know that I'd wear it, but I like it.
When gaming lifestyle company Razer showed off its concept for Project Hazel N95 facial respirator earlier this year at CES, it had only been a few weeks since the first coronavirus vaccines had been okay for emergency use. But even now, as thoughts of post-pandemic future are beginning to take shape, it looks like the Razer sees a future for high-tech personal protective equipment. Razer CEO Min Liang Tan told Yahoo Finance this week that Project Hazel Mask will become a reality. We were thinking that this is a concept project and this is going to be relevant when vaccination and everything has been rolled out, Tan told the publication. I think moving forward, we decided, and I can tell you now, we are going to proceed in making it a reality and ship the smart mask. Can I please get a time frame, please? We realize that even with vaccinations, we are hearing you still have to be maxed up because there is still a risk factor that even if you are vaccinated, you need to be incredibly careful. This is true. You gotta, it takes you about 6 months before you can be 98% vaccinated, apparently, if you have the Pfizer vaccination.
Okay.
Tan said that many countries may still be a year or two from being fully vaccinated. Tan didn't say when masks would go into production. Razer did immediately respond to a request for a comment. The high-tech Project Hazel design touted in CES is transparent and features internal LED lights to make your mouth visible in low light. It uses replaceable filters and rechargeable ventilators on its 2 respiration pods. You can adjust the amount of airflow, and the pods have audio processing algorithms. That's what I like. This is what I'm interested in. Built to make your voice sound clear and more. I don't want more natural. I want my voice to sound like Bane.
I also like the light because it always bothers me that I'm smiling at somebody when I'm working and they can't even see that I'm smiling at them.
The mask also features active ventilation and auto sterilization, a separate case that can charge it wirelessly, a UV sterilizer, and the pods sported light rings that indicate charge status. How much do you think this will be?
I was just thinking, when we first reporting on this, wasn't there something about this being really expensive?
No, we also covered the LG's mask, which had, air purified mask. I think that was 400.
Okay, maybe I'm confusing it with that one. Okay.
But
this is going to be expensive.
I'm hoping $200 at most.
I'm betting more than that. I'm betting closer to the 400 is my guess.
No.
Hey, if you're right, that's cool.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. LG's option is $400, and LG's option is nowhere near as close as Razer likes to, charge high and then charge what we call their Razer tax because they know they made something that looks cool.
Yeah, and plus the fact they put a lot of R&D in this, so they're going to put that in the price somewhere. But I still think it looks cool.
It sure is.
All right, you go into rectangles.
Oh wow, I forgot about that.
I'm shocked.
I was like, maybe I can squeeze one more star. We actually did very good in the stories. Let's go to glowing rectangles.
Nigel is saying okay, George, and I don't know what he's saying okay, George, too.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, tonight's story, the epilogue is the glowing rectangle. Well, it's not going to be the epilogue, but fellow tech aficionados, if you have a story that you want to share with other individuals like yourself, why don't you go ahead and visit the reddit.com r/glowing rectangles, a place to talk about all the best tech toys. And here you will find stories, videos, published by, shared. Let me say shared by users just like yourself.
Yep.
And top story of the day is that you should probably have a look at, goes to Team Vry, where he talks.
As soon as I went down, I'm like, hey, that's Mike.
Vry. He talks about the Pixel 4a yet.
Yeah, I already watched that video.
Yeah. And then the second. Oh, hold on. Look. What is this? A subreddit a post by Samsung. Apparently, You don't have to choose with
Oh,
4K
there's
video
always an
stack.
ad. There's always an ad underneath the first story.
How does it have 20 upvotes though? Let me downvote that real quick. Let me get out
Okay,
of here.
yeah.
Second post goes to Flexispot Suited Ergonomic Office Chair, a review done by TK Bay. Ah, look at this. It's a nice chair. You can't have too many.
I saw when he put the
Ah,
video up, and I never got a chance to watch it. Okay.
it looks like it has a lumbar support in the front of the chair.
It
That's a
does.
unique design.
And it looks like it has good support for your neck, too.
And then the third story is the Friday checkout, which might be the end of the LG. I'm not gonna. I'll see it when it happens. And then another story by video by Lisa Gate of
Lisa Gage, yeah, she's excellent. She's always excellent.
She sure is, and she
And
does look at
she lives
this.
close to you. She lives in Plano.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Maybe I can do a what's it called? Collab video? She doesn't do collabs. I'm just kidding. Let's see. And then another video about the OnePlus 9 Pro by Spectacular Gadgets. You want to do her tagline? No? Let's do this. Yeah.
Let's do this. I copied it from her, and I told her so. You know.
Rand, it's not a gaming chair though. Like Rand says, like I meet a man cave from buying those. What TK Bay's looking at.
It's kind of shaped like a gaming chair because my chair's a gaming chair, and it to me it's like a gaming chair with more lumbar support.
To me, it reminds me of. It looks like it's more shaped like my chair that I have right now.
Okay.
But the lumbar support is in the front, and then you got the whole. Ooh, look at that neck support. Although I rarely use the neck support. Like I rarely use the neck thing.
The same as me. I have the thing, but I never lean back that far.
And then
I need a man cave if I'll be buying those gaming chairs. Well, yeah, I never had one before I had a man cave. So,
and then let me just round it out with Tech King Mike. He apparently had a Thursday night live stream, very interesting. But more importantly, what's this? Tech King Mike is going to have what's it called? His Saturday Tech Fights.
Oh, I did. That's right. I saw one posted. He started them already.
Yeah, there's one tomorrow. It's going to be one of the judges. Is going to be, I know some gadget guy is going to be one of the judges. Apparently, it might be a fight between Pixel and iPhone. So definitely tune into that, guys.
Okay.
The winners get popcorns and stuff.
Cool. All right. So you came up with interesting stuff tonight. Very good.
Yes. Hold on. What? Nobody's saying nothing.
Who's this? Why time? Seriously, what is this all about? Why? I'm not understanding the question.
Yep. No idea what that means, but let's go check out this video.
Oh, now we're back to our lead story. Is it frozen?
I have no idea.
Okay, it looks like it's frozen. There you go.
Delivering Amazon packages is one of the most important pieces to the Amazon customer experience. That is why we at Amazon are committed to keeping drivers and the communities in which they deliver safe. We are always searching out innovative ways to keep drivers safe. That is why we have partnered with Netrodyne to help us make improvements to the driver experience. Netrodyne is a transportation technology company based in Southern California. They are the first company to merge artificial intelligence and video to create industry-leading safety systems. Studies have shown that the camera systems can reduce collisions by a third through in-cab warnings and another third through improved driver behaviors. Our intention with this technology is to set up drivers for success and provide them support in being safer on road and handling incidents if and when they happen. Now let's meet Netrodyne's camera system, Driver Eye. The Driver Eye quad camera is packed with great features. As the name suggests, there are 4 HD cameras, a road-facing view, a driver-facing view, and 2 side view cameras, giving the system 270 degrees of coverage. Facing the driver, there are 2 driver alert buttons and 2 indicator LEDs. When both LED lights are green, the system is recording. The Driver Eye camera system is the only camera system of its kind that can recognize good driving habits, not just on-road incidents.
And they're not telling you they're selling it to third parties. But she said industry-leading safety system, and I'm thinking, based on our lead story, industry-leading spy system. I call it.
But that was, you know what, George? We had Amazon all wrong throughout this. This was all about safety, George.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I have to say, though.
And Apple stop putting in the charges because they're saving.
I have to say, though, the production quality of this video is fantastic. Wow.
It's Amazon. It's supposed to be fantastic.
Like, woo. I will notice, though, there's like a difference because I'm using 2 different displays. Like, you know, it looks better on this monitor than on the monitor of my MacBook Pro. But my MacBook Pro, oddly enough, like it increases the contrast in the shadows. Where on this other display, which is not that too good, it's softer. It's so interesting. But anyway, I stopped it so so I can fast forward a bit so I can not get striked. Let me just let me see. 60.
All right, we're 5 after 10, just letting you know. Oh, he's answering our question. He said, what's the point of this show? I don't know what you are doing. That's what I meant. Well, I guess you got to watch from the beginning.
Incidents that will trigger Driver Eye to upload footage without an in-cab audio alert are hard braking and acceleration, high G-forces, hard cornering, low impacts, seatbelt compliance, U-turns, driver drowsiness, and an obstructed camera. In addition, you, the driver, may trigger Driver Eye to upload footage at any time during your route to document safety concerns you want to draw attention to, such as road rage, someone approaching the vehicle, or that the delivery location is closed or inaccessible. Now that we know what will trigger an alert for Driver Eye, let's see what that looks like from the camera's perspective. Also, take
Nothing but a big commercial.
No stop detected.
I like how they censored the guy's face, though, the driver's face, though. Wow.
Yeah, but they didn't censor when they
No stop detected. Please slow down.
Driver's identity has been obscured for training purposes. Actual footage in Notre Dame portal.
Video footage can be one of the best tools available for getting facts about any situation.
Damn! That was going to be a crash right there.
Yep.
How would this have helped any situation, though?
I
And what
guess
happens?
they're probably thinking it might help
Camera
us from
records
future
100%
accidents.
of the time when
Oh.
you are up
Oh, this looks
your
relevant.
route,
Drive.
but only uploads footage when it is triggered by you or in cases previously mentioned.
Yeah, like
Only
if
a
you
limited
know.
set of authorized people have access to driver video footage.
Yeah,
And again,
a
don't
limited
worry.
set.
There is no live feed functionality to the video system. No one will be watching you while you are on your route. There are 3 ways video footage is used: by the Amazon Last Mile Trust and Safety team, for coaching by your DSP, and for investigations such as vehicle and package theft or property damage. Now you may be asking yourself, is there a way to turn the cameras off? The answer is yes. With the ignition in the off position, pressing and holding the driver alert button for 5 seconds will turn the driver-facing camera off so you can have privacy while taking a break. The driver-facing camera will turn off in 10 seconds. Outward-facing cameras will continue to run for up to 20 minutes to document any situations such as vehicle or package theft, driver harassment, or collisions from moving vehicles. When the ignition is turned back on, the cameras will automatically turn back on, indicated by both driver-facing.
I agree with this. This is a terrible.
To be
This though, like for like driving, I don't oppose the use of cameras, especially for out cameras. Like we all need get dash cams.
If you're
front
going
and
to
rear.
penalize a guy for yawning I got a
That's
problem with that.
that's the problem with that, yeah. But
To the
otherwise,
point where he has to quit. And Yatra Time, the point of this show is we highlight certain stories every week, and we go through the stories, basically informing our subscribers of stories we find, tech stories that we find interesting for the week. That's what the show's about.
you came from YouTube. Where did you come from, though? Did you hear about us from Twitter or something, Yatra? I mean, or were you just scrolling through the feed and you got did YouTube suggest us? Wouldn't it be great if YouTube
But in
suggested
any
us, George?
case, yeah, could be. But in any case, one week it's on Ted's channel, like it is this week. Next week it's on my channel, the Mobile Geezer channel. So we highlight these stories every week, and we go through them, and our subscribers comment on the ones they want to comment on. And
Kind of
generally
reminds me
have a
of
good time.
yeah. I'm still thinking about that article we read last week about the Chinese factories, Foxconn factories, where all workers were being monitored now.
Yeah,
And
exactly. Yeah,
except Apple employees.
it's getting way out of hand. And I agree with those 5 senators. I think they need to be yanked into Congress and stop this nonsense.
Yeah, that's the main concern, though. Like,
And then the camera
is
telling them if
Amazon
somebody's
using it for
approaching
facial
them.
recognition?
I mean, I drive all day. If somebody approaches my vehicle, one of us is going to the hospital. It's just that simple.
I think there's also like the bigger problem, Amazon setting like really highly unrealistic taxes if people are just need to piss in bottles and
Yeah,
put into
exactly.
Amazon bags. But all of this would just be solved if we all just put our research into driverless vehicles to begin with.
I agree.
Yep. Less drivers on the road. All right, folks, those are the stories. I hope you enjoyed them. Hope have a lovely weekend and a great Easter.
We had some good discussion this week, that's for sure.
Yep. And we will see you guys next week on George's channel.
All right, happy Easter, everyone, and have a blessed weekend.
Yes. I can't wait to. I for my Lent, I haven't had fast food or any sort of restaurant food for a while now, except for March when I had to get Chinese. No,
And I've
not
been
Chinese.
going to restaurants for 6-7 months now.